Florence in the 15th century loved to brag about being a republic. In reality, it was more like a Renaissance reality show, complete with drama, rivalries, and family feuds, produced and directed by the Medici family. At the center stood Lorenzo de' Medici, Il Magnifico. Sharp, cultured, a poet who could charm a crowd with sonnets as easily as he could manipulate a balance sheet. His younger brother Giuliano was the golden-haired heartthrob, tournament champion, adored by women, the kind of man who made jousting look like a catwalk. Together, they were Florence's dream team, brains and beauty, intellect and charisma. But behind the velvet curtains of their palace, enemies were sharpening knives. The Pazzi family, bitter rivals, resented the Medici monopoly on wealth. Worse, Pope Sixtus IV himself had grown tired of the Medici grip on papal finances. And so, in a plot that could have been scripted by Machiavelli, had he been old enough to write it, the Pazzi joined forces with mercenaries, discontented nobles, and, wait for it, an archbishop. Because nothing says Holy Easter like a bishop with a murder plan. 3 years before the bloodbath, Florence was alive with carnival games. Lorenzo, ever the master of PR, sponsored the festivities, dazzling the crowds with art, poetry, and his intellectual flair. Giuliano stole the spotlight at the joust, dedicating his victory to the most beautiful woman in Florence, under a banner painted by Botticelli himself. It was the perfect tableau: youth, beauty, wealth, and power. Yet even in Lorenzo's viewing box, some guests were already plotting the brothers' downfall. Smiles hid daggers, applause masked resentment. The Medici Empire had been built on banking brilliance. Their grandfather had turned account books into weapons, offering credit to kings and merchants, and most importantly serving as the papacy's personal bankers. But by Lorenzo's time, cracks were showing. Loans were technically sinful in the Catholic Church, so the Medici disguised interest as fees. Branch managers skimmed profits. Borrowers defaulted. 2 generations of lavish spending drained the coffers. Lorenzo was brilliant in diplomacy and poetry, but not in banking. Other families smelled blood in the water. And the biggest shark of all? Pope Sixtus IV. Sixtus IV was no humble shepherd of souls. He was a nepotism machine, elevating 6 nephews, some possibly his illegitimate sons, to cardinal hats like party favors. His ambition? Expand the Papal States and crush Florence's independence. The flashpoint came over Imola, a lucrative trade city. Lorenzo wanted it. Sixtus wanted it. Lorenzo offered a fortune to buy it, but the Duke of Milan sold it to Sixtus instead, at a discount. To sweeten the deal, Sixtus arranged for his nephew, Girolamo Riario, to marry into Milanese nobility. When Sixtus asked Lorenzo for a loan to finance this purchase, Lorenzo said, "No money for you!" Sixtus retaliated by yanking papal accounts from the Medici bank and handing them to the Pazzi family. The Pazzi were Florence's second family, ancient rivals of the Medici. Once powerful, they had declined into bitterness. Lorenzo worsened things by pushing inheritance reforms that hurt their fortunes. When Sixtus gave the Archbishopric of Florence to a Pazzi ally instead of Lorenzo's cousin, the feud reignited. The Pazzi saw their chance. With the Pope's blessing, they would strike. Girolamo Riario, Sixtus's nephew, ruler of Imola, hated Lorenzo and wanted to expand his territory. He teamed up with Archbishop Salviati, a man Lorenzo had opposed, and Francesco de' Pazzi. The plan was bold. Step 1. Murder Lorenzo and Giuliano during Easter Mass. Step 2. Archbishop Salviati seizes the government palace. Step 3. Riario marches troops from Imola to secure Florence. At first, even the head of the Pazzi family thought this was madness. A mercenary captain refused to join. But then, they went to the Pope. Sixtus IV, in his papal robes, spoke with careful menace. "I desire the death of no man, but I urgently desire the government of Florence be removed from Lorenzo, that treacherous scoundrel." Translation: kill him. Just don't tell me about it. With papal approval, the conspirators sharpened their daggers, gathered mercenaries, and chose their stage, the Cathedral of Florence, Easter Sunday, April 26, 1478. The cathedral was packed, incense thick in the air, choirs singing. Lorenzo and Giuliano knelt at the altar, surrounded by supposed friends. As the priest raised the communion host, blades flashed. Giuliano was stabbed 19 times, collapsing in a pool of blood. Lorenzo, quick-thinking and slippery as ever, fended off attackers with his cloak and escaped into the sacristy, wounded but alive. The Pazzi had planned a coup. Instead, they triggered chaos. the conspiracy unraveled instantly. Florentines loyal to the Medici rose in fury. Conspirators were hunted down, hanged from the windows of the Palazzo Vecchio, their bodies swinging as grim decorations. Archbishop Salviati was strung up in his vestments, a macabre reminder that even holy men weren't safe from Renaissance vengeance. Lorenzo, scarred but alive, emerged stronger than ever. The failed conspiracy transformed him from banker-poet into Florence's undisputed prince. The Pazzi Conspiracy wasn't just a bloody Easter, it was a turning point. Lorenzo tightened his grip on Florence, expanded his patronage of the arts, and became the Magnifico history remembers. Botticelli, Michelangelo, and Leonardo thrived under his support. Meanwhile, the Pazzi name became synonymous with betrayal. Their fortunes ruined, their legacy reduced to a cautionary tale. Never try to stab a Medici in church, it won't end well. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share. Every follow helps grow this channel. See you in the next one.